Hi, can you tell me who started OpenAI?
Hello there. OpenAI was co-founded by several people, including Sam Altman, Elon Musk, and Greg Brockman, along with others. Is there anything specific you'd like to know about them?
Can you tell me who invented the internet?
Well, the internet didn't really have one inventor. It was developed over time by many people, with key contributions from folks like Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn,
Okay,
who,
stop there. Can you tell me a joke instead?
sure, here's one. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. How was that?
Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is going to be a video on how to create your own voice bot in less than 100 lines of code. And I'll also have a link attached to my GitHub repo in the description so you guys can use it, plug in your own API key, and you should be good to go. So today I'm going to be showing you how to do it using Pipecat. Pipecat is this amazing open source framework for building real-time voice and multimodal AI agents. So go check it out. It's actually a competitor to LiveKit, and OpenAI actually uses LiveKit for their voice bots. Okay. So one of the best things about Pipecat is, for me, it breaks down your voice bot into three components, which is essentially STT, and then your LLM, and then your TTS. Okay. And you can directly plug into various different providers. So if you go to speech to text, right off the bat, you can see DeepGram Speechmatics, Google Speech to Text, and Azure as well. So in case you already have a G-Cloud project in your company or your organization, you can directly use this. And then you also have text to speech, right? So in text to speech, you can actually check out the various different supported TTS services. In case you're from India, you want specific languages, you can use Sarvam, which is a great TTS for Indian languages. You have 11 labs, DeepGram, etc. And you also can decide which LLM you want to use, right, which actually is the logic and the thinking part of it. So yeah, this is basically Pipecat. And so yeah, now there's also Pipecat clients, which basically is a way for you to connect to your Pipecat and interact with it, especially when you have something like client tools. This is when your Pipecat clients really comes into use. So go check it out. Now let's get to the code. I've already prepared this folder, and you will see the exact same folders structure and the files in my GitHub repo as well. So I already have a bot.py, I have a env.example, Gemini Google API key. So this is going to be basically a Gemini live key. You can get it from your Google AI Studio. I will add the link also in the description for it. It's pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated. And requirements.txt. Make sure you guys use Python 3.12. Pipecat themselves recommend Python 3.11, so it's always 11 plus, I think, in the official documentation. So it's always better to have Python 3.12. That's what I'm going to be using today to run everything. Okay, so yeah, let's get straight to it. And yeah, I'm not going to be writing each and every line of code because it's going to be too much, and honestly, let's be honest, none of us have that much patience these days. So yeah, let's get started. And these are just imports, nothing to worry about. I'll explain each and every one of them as we go on. For now, all you have to worry about is load underscore .env, which basically takes your Gemini API key from your environment, and then it basically gets used in your code. Now let's add some system instruction. This is actually a very important part of the file. This basically tells your bot how to respond to the user. And the second line is actually very important. In my opinion, your output will be spoken aloud, so respond in short, meaningful, natural sentences. So this is basically a way of telling your LLM don't add markdown or bullet points, because once such, your LLMs have a naturally are trained to respond in markdowns or lists, so they have a natural way of automatically doing it, so which just really sounds bad once you send it to your TTS. Okay, so it just doesn't sound good. And if you want to change the persona of your bot, let's say you want it to be more sarcastic, or you want it to sound like a particular person or a particular time period, saying like a medieval king or something like that, then this is where you put all the system instructions. Okay, so now let's get to the actual bot, and this is where things will get very interesting. And okay, so let's go with LLM service. So the first part is going to be your Gemini Live LLM service. So like I mentioned, I'm going to be using Gemini Live itself for STT, TTS as well as LLM. Now I really like Gemini Live. It's very easy to experiment with, honestly, and because they give so much free tier, it's nice, to learn and experiment with new things. So if you want to really split it up into three different components, that's also okay. You can actually see a lot of such examples in their Pipecat official documentation. So go check it out. And one of the for me, in my opinion, I think this Gemini Live type of offerings is going to be very big because it combines everything under one roof. And especially if you're building for languages like English, these are all very well known languages. So there are going to be a lot of offering. But in case you're building something for regional, right now I'm from India, so Gemini Live doesn't cover a lot of Indian language. It does cover a lot, but not every one of them. So in such cases, you might have to use something like Servam, which is doing a great job. Their LLM, they also came up with LLMs which are really doing good, and they have their own STT as well as TTS. So you can find these again in Pipecat itself. Pipecat documentation, they have complete support for plugging in Servam, so go check it out as well. So that's also kind of nice. So I'm going with Gemini 3.5, sorry, Gemini 3.1 Flash Live Preview, and I've gone with some voice ID. I'm not paying too much attention to it. So yeah, now let's go and actually build the pipeline itself. So this is the pipeline. So if you see transport.input, this is actually input directly from your microphone. Okay, this is the audio. Then the audio then goes to context aggregator.user, which is basically combines what input came from your user and then adds it into history. And then you have your actual LLM, which is in this case Gemini Live LLM service. And if you had broken this down into different components, you would have seen each and every service like STT, TTS, and your LLM, but now we're combining it. This is your transport.output, which sends it back to your speaker. And finally, you have context aggregator.assistant, which stores what the bot said into history. Okay, so context aggregator.user also stores what the input came from user in the history, and context aggregator.assistant saves what the bot said in your history. Okay, so then we'll add two event handlers. Okay, before we go to that, what exactly is pipeline task? It's basically a way to compile your pipeline, and then you add a bunch of metrics. So you understand what is your time for first token, and in case you need to optimize it or you want to change the regions in which things are deployed, then these metrics are going to be very helpful. And once you run my examples, there will be a tab called metrics, so you can actually check it out there and get real view. And because we are using one service for everything, the number of metrics by default captured are going to be less. But if you split it into three different services, then it's actually really nice. So go and check them out. Okay. So next, let's add event handlers. Okay, so event handlers, this one is actually very nice. On client connected, basically it tells when the user is actually pressed connect and connected to the bot. And in case, let's say you want the bot to first respond directly to the user instead of waiting for the user to say something, then this is where you add something like that. You can queue certain frames directly into task so that the bot greets the user and doesn't wait for the user to say something. Okay, so on client disconnected, it basically, now this uses your WebRTC for connection, and task basically just cancels all these connections. Okay, so all these are pretty straightforward. And yeah, so now let's add the final pieces to the board. So I keep saying WebRTC, right? So this is a very important protocol that all voice bots today use, and this is the complete boilerplate. Basically, the transport params, if you see, it basically tells Pipecat when running locally, use WebRTC. Okay, turn on the mic and the speaker, and you can use Celero for voice activity detection, which is VAD. Celero, is what figures out when you stop talking. So the bot knows its turn to respond. If you wanted to deploy this to a phone number through, let's say, Twilio or to Daily for production, WebRTC, you just add another entry to this directory. The bot logic above doesn't change at all, and that's the magic of Pipecat. Same code, different transports. Okay, so once this is done, all you have to do is hit uv run bot.py and you will see the bot up and running. Okay, so go check out the code. You can start the repo, pull it. If you want any more such videos, you can leave comment. If you have any feedback, also you can leave comments, and go and subscribe to my channel. Okay, thank you guys. See ya.